Yes.
Are they all isms as well, like I, you, he, they? Do they count as isms?
I'll give you a very short answer. Yes.
Okay, that's good enough for
But
me. And the second question, second question I wanted to ask is, we did light and heavy.
yes.
Um, I've done a little bit of tajweed, and in tajweed, is it the same as por and barik, like ra, ri, ru, and like Allah, bismillah? That's also called por heavy, and barik. Is it the same as that or not?
Tajweed is more about reading and reciting. The grammar is
It's not
more
the same
about
though,
the.
is it?
No, it's the grammar is more about
No.
structure of the word and their relationship with each other. It's a
Right.
different
Okay.
thing.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Um, we will do pronouns very comprehensively, inshallah. And pronouns
Yeah.
is the backbone of Arabic language, right?
Yes.
And we'll have to be super good at them. Inshallah, when that time comes, we'll discuss that in detail. But for you, short answer is yes, they are
Yes.
isms.
Jazakallah.
Fahad,
Okay.
I also have one question. Can
Yes.
I ask? Yeah.
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
I was just looking at last class. We did light and heavy. So are we
Yes.
going to? We are studying this just because it will help in making sentences, or that has to do with the sound, as you said. The Arabics really go after the sound. So that will help in making sentences light or heavy isms, or it has more to do with the sound. So it looks better when when you make light or heavy word.
Mm. Farhan, learning light and heavy will help you understand the emotion behind the ayahs of the Quran. Just like I gave you an example of La Raiba Fihi last time.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So La Raiba would generally be translated. There are things that are lost in translation in the Quran because the grammatical structure is not factored in completely in the translation. So once you know
Mhm.
light versus heavy, you know this is where the emotion is higher. This is absolute emotion. There is lots of emphasis on it. When there is heavy, it's more normal, right? Of course, this will help you understand the sentence structures and make those sentence structures accordingly. This will also help you with that. And the whole idea of light versus heavy is to be able to ultimately understand the, how should I say, the punctuations which are not visible in the Quran. Quran does not have a full stop or a comma or an exclamation mark or anything like that. That doesn't
Mm.
exist in the Quran. That is
So you
represented
are
through these things.
you are saying when you write in English, so instead of writing a big word, so these emotions are enough. You can understand what that means. So this is more important in Arabic.
Yes, I can write absolutely no doubt, or I can
Mm.
write, I can write Raiba,
Mm.
right? If I say Raibun, then it's no doubt. Okay.
Mm.
So those types of details which are not visible through translation, it will start to open up because when you read any book, not just the Quran, the writer actually the author tries to communicate the emotions of how they are expressing themselves. So they would
Yeah.
describe a scenery, the mood of a person, and things like that, right? So
Mm.
when Quran is a book where Allah communicates with you,
Mm.
and you need to understand what is the emotion Allah is reflecting with you. Is he
Mm.
angry? Is he sad? Is he expressing too much on it? So then you would really get the wisdom out of it. And those are the subtle things that you need to understand before you can get into that study. Okay?
Okay, great, great, great.
Clear?
Thank you.
Any other question? Anyone? And feel free to ask questions from the previous class. That's absolutely fine. While we are doing a certain topic, then let's try to stay with that topic. And then if there is a question, we will ask either at the end of the class or the last and beginning of the class. I mean, the question which is not related to the topic we are doing. If it is related to a topic, interrupt me and ask questions, of course. And if there are questions which are new, either previous class or some future questions, then we can either keep them in the beginning or in the end of the class. Inshallah. Good. Very good. I like the questions. Today, what we're going to do is something called flexibility. Now, I should warn you, flexibility is a topic that in the beginning, little bit overwhelms students. Not because it's difficult, because it has a bit too many things to remember. Right? But in inshallah 1 to 2 classes, 3 classes, you will get very comfortable with it. Okay. Also, flexibility is the last topic in the study of status. So we have been doing status, number, gender, type. These are the 4 properties we have discussed between us. We have been studying status, and within the status, we have discussed many topics. How to tell, in which you discussed the rafa nasab. Sorry, first topic was forms of status. Forms of status. You learned about rafa nasab jar, then how to tell the status. That is about the ending sound and ending combination. Those types of things, in which you did Muslim charts and all of those things. Then you did light versus heavy. That's all study of status, nothing else. Okay? Last time we did light versus heavy, and the last topic today is flexibility. After this, we will conclude the study of status. The other properties, number, gender, type, are not as deep and as long to be taught as status. So we can do it in, I think, inshallah, a few classes, not as much as we have spent time in status. So once you're done with all 4, then you know the foundations of the ism. And then we'll move on to the fragments, where multiple isms come together and starts to make more sense. And then things will start to be more interesting, inshallah. Okay, so today we are going to do state flexibility.
Question.
Yes.
This number gender, haven't we done this thing using the Muslimun chart? The numbers.
Partially, yes.
Partially,
yes.
okay.
Yes, you
Right.
you know whatever maps to Muslim chart, you know it's singular, pair, or plural, but you don't know everything about the numbers yet.
Okay.
There are other things that you have not done. Okay. Flexibility. Now, flexibility, I'm going to very simply describe what is flexibility. It's the ability of an ism, right? It's an ability of an ism that to show its status. Now, let me break it down a little bit. It's an ability of an ism to show its status. When the ism is able to show the status, it means when, as soon as you look at the ism, you know it's rafa, nasab, and jar. And that's because the ism is very flexible. There are isms that are tricky. Okay, so if I rephrase this a little bit, it's an ability of an ism that how easily it can show you its status. How easily it can show you status. Okay? If I just try to construct a very bad example, okay? If I come in front of you, you know I'm Fahad, right? And you will easily recognize me. If I if I get up some makeup on myself and make a different type of appearance and things like that, I'm still Fahad, but you don't know that yet. It will take you some time to recognize that I'm Fahad. Right? The more at length I go in disguising as if I'm not Fahad, the more time you will take to understand it. Understand it. It's going to be difficult for you. Right? Isms are like that as well. Sometimes those isms are very normal. They show status very easily, just like you did in the Muslim chart. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin. You look at the ending sound and you know this is the status. Okay. Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. Ending combination, and you know this is the status. Right? But there are isms that do not show that. And we need to learn how to operate with those isms. Okay. So I will teach you 3 types of flexibilities. 2 of them are super easy. 2 of them are super easy. The third one is easy, but can be a little bit confusing because of the amount of things you need to remember, not because the concept is difficult. Okay, so I'll show that to you, inshallah. The first type is fully flexible. 3 types of isms. First type is fully flexible isms. And fully flexible isms are those isms that will show you their status very, very easily. Very, very easy. Everything you have done in the Muslim charts are fully flexible. Okay. So all isms that map to Muslim charts, masculine or feminine, doesn't matter, are fully flexible. Okay. Meaning Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini, Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. If I give you one of these words, you would be able to tell me its status. If I give you Muslimina, you will tell me it is either nasab or jar, but you are still telling me the status, right? You know where it belongs. You just do not know how to differentiate between them, but you do know the status. So those types of isms are all fully flexible isms. Majority isms in Arabic are fully flexible. Majority. There are few that are not. Just like in any democratic world, you have few people who are right and few people who are not right, or even if they are right, their way to operate is different. Everyone has a different way of operations. So majority awam in the fully ism world is fully flexible. Okay? But there are few which like to be different. Okay? Any questions so far? Is the principle clear? Good.
Yes.
There is nothing more in fully flexible isms to teach you. That is what it is. It's super easy. So if I give you any ism, let me start with a masjid. For example, masjid. If I put this on it, you can tell me the status masjidun. If I put this on it, you can tell me the status masjidu. You know it's rafa. This one also, you know, it's nasab. This one also, you know, it's nasab. It immediately tells you the status. That's the idea behind it. Masjidin or masjidi, you can immediately know once you look at the ism that it is fully flexible.
Fahad bhai, one
Yes.
not very relevant question, but about just
Yes.
masjid. Is
Yes.
masjid masculine or feminine? Though it's masculine, I can see it, but when we talk about it or when we use it in the sentence, we always use it as a feminine. So, what is the right gender of, if there is a gender, or for masjid, it's not a non-living thing, so gender doesn't matter.
It is a masculine, and the feminine that you use is potentially in Urdu, not in Arabic. Masjid hoti hai, right? That's Urdu, right? So what we also need to adapt ourselves is thinking in Arabic. So you need to start thinking like an Arab. Masjid is masculine, but there are things in masjid that we will inshallah do hopefully in the next class
Inshallah.
that
Okay.
you will realize that parts of it is feminine.
All right.
Okay, inshallah, that's to come.
One question,
Oh,
Fahad. When you say this maps to Muslim chart, right?
mhm.
Is the Muslim chart is only for the heavy one, or is it the light one as well? Like when you said masjidu, it's a light ism. So I was just is to me reading this line is more like a heavy one's ism we are talking about, or this also includes light one.
Includes the light ones. So actually, the light ones were derived from the heavy ones, right? You can't make something light unless it's heavy.
Yeah,
Right? So every ism in the light Muslim charts that you have seen is also flexible ism,
it's
right?
also fully
Because its original form is flexible.
okay.
It changed its shape later on, but that doesn't make it inflexible. You can still go back to the original form in your mind. If I give you masjidai, you can still say it was masjidaini, right?
Mm,
So you can still go back and
mm,
decode the status.
okay.
Right. So that's fully flexible isms. There's nothing challenging about it. Then the second category is non-flexible. Non-flexible isms. Now, as you can potentially guess, non-flexible isms are those isms that do not like to show their status at all. Right? Whenever somebody comes to them, are you Rafa Nasab Jar? They always say, I'm not going to tell you. Sorry. I neither like your face nor your voice, so I'm not going to tell you. Okay? So you would always struggle with these types of isms because these types of isms will require us to look at things around them to be able to decode their status. Let me give you an example. What is the status of this word? Think about it. Musa. It doesn't end with a sound of any type, un, an, in, u, a, e, right? It is not ani, aini, aini. It is not una, ina, ina. It's not atun, atin, atin, right? Maps nowhere. Right? It's a name. It's a name. Isa. Dunya. Okay. Which one? Zakaria. All of these are what? Isms. But we can't tell their status. What does it tell you? It tells you the isms that end with this letter. This one in the end. It's not making it right. This one and the alif. Isms that usually end with these two letters are non-flexible. Okay. Once you look at those isms, you cannot really tell their status if they are nasab, jar, or rafa, either in ending sound or in ending combination. Okay. Now, what do we call this particular letter? There is a lesson I need to give you. There is a message I want to give you here. This is not a ya. Just so you know, it has nothing to do with non-flexible thing, but just for your knowledge, this thing is not a ya. This is an alif. This is an alif in Arabic language. You see the small dagger sign on it. In English, we call it dagger alif. In Arabic, we call it alif maksura. You don't have to remember these terms right now, but just so you know, both of these ending letters that I'm showing you in yellow, they are both alifs, but written in different forms. Okay, that's syntactical, that's historical. There is no reason why they are written like that. So it's just a language and it has evolved like that, right? So just so you know, when we are talking about a non-flexibilism, we're talking about words ending with alif maksura, or this letter, or the alif. You can remember is as dagger alif, you can remember is ya with an alif on top, you can remember is whatever you like, it's fine, as far as you can recognize it. Okay, so the words ending with these types of letters are non-flexible because you can't tell their status. That's the first rule I need to tell you. Any questions on this so far? Is that clear?
One question, Fahad.
Yes, one question.
Go ahead, Farhan.
Go ahead, Tala.
I'm just comparing it with the last class, in which the last thing that we learned was an ism will be light when we are calling someone, or when it is something like something that will indeed happen, right? So can I say this thing that an light ism will always be a non-flexible ism?
No.
No.
No. You cannot say that because now this is a light ism, this is a heavy ism. I make it light. Okay. I've made it light by removing the N sound. can you still go back to the original version and detect its
Status.
original state?
Mm.
Yeah,
The
in your
Muslim.
mind, you know it was Muslimun, right?
Mm.
If I take a bit more complex example, if I say it's Muslimuna, right? If this is the ism, Muslimuna, and I made it light, I removed the noon, right? Can you go back to the original form if I ask you what is the status of this ism in your mind?
Mm.
You
Muslim.
still know this is the originally it was Muslimuna. It is a heavy ism, but it is being made light, and it is made light for one of the reasons we have learned. We have just learned two. Inshallah, today you will get the third, and after a few classes you will get the fourth, and then you will have absolute clarity why isms are made light. Right?
Okay.
So, but these isms you can't say they are non-flexible because you can still tell their status. They are not written in their original form, but you still can go to the original form, and the original form was the flexible form.
Mm.
Right? They don't become non-flexible like that. Does that answer your question, Tala? Okay. So now, yes, Farhan.
I have one question. So in
Yes.
your last class, we in your exercise there was a word Rasula.
Mhm.
So we made it. I wrote it as a light in my exercise book.
Mm.
So do you think this is similar to what you had said, because there is a sound ah, like you said Zakaria?
Yes, you're looking at Rasula because it's ending with the alif, right?
Yeah.
But knowing the Muslim chart, you know that this is not the full form of this word. The full form was Rasulani. You know that, right?
Rasul. Exactly.
Whereas the Zakaria or Dunya is a full word in itself. There is no additional letter that has to come next,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
right?
Okay. Got it.
So this tells you that this was made light and it's a fully flexible.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, good. Now, this is the prime thing I really want you to remember in non-flexible. When you see those isms ending with alif maksura on an alif, you can't tell the status until you see the words before them. Okay? So there is a relationship with the words before them that will help you understand the status of these isms. Okay? And we will learn all of that, inshallah, once we've done the properties of ism. Now, there are other things that are also non-flexible. For example, Uncle was mentioning pronouns. Huwa is a pronoun. Qul huwa Allahu ahad. That's the second word. That's what you write here. You write Qul, Hu, and then you write Allah. That's the ayah. Qul huwa Allahu. Okay? So the word in the middle is a pronoun. Okay? All pronouns are non-flexible, but don't worry about them because you don't know the pronouns yet. I don't expect you to remember all of those things. Once we go to the pronouns, you will know that automatically. Okay? Those pronouns are non-flexible. They are very commonly used words in the Quran that you may already know. For example, what is this word? Have you read that in Quran? Haza. Haza. Haza is a pointer. I mean, these are the words which are like this, that, and things like that. Haza, hazihi, these types of words that appear in the Quran. Okay, so you just need to keep in mind the pointer words are all non-flexible. All pointer words are non-flexible. Problem with us right now is we do not know the pointer words. Right? How, if I remember this statement, all pointer words are fully flexible and the pointer word comes in front of me, I'm not going to be able to recognize it. But I will tell you. Okay? At this point, I'll tell you. This is a pointer word. Okay? And there are some other types of isms. I will not give you lots of information right now, and I will feed you the information, inshallah, when you're ready for that. There are other categories. Just remember these two things right now. The isms ending with alif maksura and the alif and all the pointer words, they are all non-flexible. They don't show their status at all. Okay? Any questions? Nope. Okay. Now let's come to the third category. So just a very quick summary. So we have done fully flexible, just so it's fully ingrained in your mind. Fully flexible are all words that map to your Muslim charts. They immediately show their status either through ending sound or ending combination. Right? So any word that is mapping to your Muslim charts is fully flexible. Most words in Arabic are fully flexible. If you make a heavy word, a light word, it does not make it non-flexible. It still remains fully flexible because you still know the original form was fully flexible. Right? Then we did non-flexible. Non-flexible, we said words ending with the alif maksura or a dagger alif, with ya with a dagger alif on top, or the alif, and all the pointer words. At this point, these are the two things we know are non-flexible. They don't show a status at all. We do not know if they are rafa, nasab, or jar. And to find that status, we need to look at the words around them, before them, most of the times. Right? So that's what non-flexible isms are. Okay. Now the third category, partly flexible. Partly flexible. In Pakistan, partly flexible are called lotas. Yeah, they join one party and then they join the other. You know that, right? So those are partly flexible. They are with everybody. They want to keep everybody happy. So in partly flexible, these are the isms. These isms, they sometimes show status, sometimes not. They sometimes show status and sometimes not. And this is a portion of flexibility topic that students generally find little overwhelming because there's lots of information coming in. Okay, so we'll take it slow and light, and inshallah, the way you can grasp that. Okay. What does it mean? They sometimes show status and sometimes not. Here is what it means. So if I write a word, Ibrahim, oh, what am I writing? Not changing the keyboard, Ibrahim. Okay. Ibrahim, right? What is the Rafa form of Ibrahim in your view? What should be the Rafa form of Ibrahim?
Ibrahimun.
Okay.
Ibrahim.
Ibrahimu.
I've heard three things. Ikhtilaf in the Ummah. Who's going to pass the fatwa now? Ibrahimun, Ibrahima, and Ibrahimu. I've heard three things. Okay. Ibrahima, and I have also heard Ibrahima. Okay. Oops. One of them is correct.
It can't be Ibrahima because that'll be Jar or Nasib. Nasib.
Okay, so it can't be Ibrahima because it will be
Nasab.
Nasab. Everyone agrees with that? Please
Well,
strike it out. Huh? Or Farhan, it was yours, right? Maybe you can share some views. So do you think, what made you think Ibrahima could be Nasab? Sorry, Rafa?
But there's no other word with it. No? I think it's a simple like lighter form or.
Okay. So we learned in the ending sounds that Rafa Nasab Jar are un, an, in, or u, a, e, right? So our sound belongs to a Nasab version,
Yeah.
right? So probably we can strike it out. So I think that's not the right one. Okay, now Ibrahimun and Ibrahimu. No. So why do we think it has to be Ibrahimun? Because the original form we learned so far is heavy, and the rafa has to be with the own sound. That's the mindset behind it. And Ibrahimu, Ibrahimu, because the rafa form also goes with u sound, not just only un sound, right? That's why the two candidates. Yes, one of them is right, and the correct one in this case is Ibrahimu, not un, mun. Okay? Ibrahimu and not mun. I'll explain you why. Now, we said that partly flexible isms sometimes show status and sometimes not, right? In this particular case, it is showing the status, right? It is not showing you the heavy version, but it is still telling you I'm rafa, right? Because you're looking at the u sound. Now I will write another form.
One question.
Yes.
So you are saying Ibrahima is no word.
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute, and inshallah things will be clear. So we said Ibrahimu is the rafa form. Now we also know the nasab form, which is normally an or a sound, right? Musliman or Muslima sound. So Ibrahima should be nasab. Should be nasab. If principally what we have learned, Ibrahima should be nasab. It's just not heavy, right now. And I'll tell you why I'm not writing things in heavy. Stay with me on this. Okay? So that is the nasab form. Ibrahimu, Ibrahima. So that's correct nasab form of this word. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break some rules that I have taught you. Okay? I'm going to break some rules that I've taught you because now you're ready for that. Okay? All right. Ibrahim. What happens is when the jar comes in the picture, jar does not take the kasra. It does not take the kasra. What it does is it's a great friend of a nasab, and it says, I'm going to look like you. I'm just going to look like you. So what happens is your rafa, nasab, and jar form, you can identify rafa very easily. And as soon as you see Ibrahima, you also know it is either nasab or jar. You also know. You just do not know exactly, just like you did not know with Muslimina. It could be either nasab or jar. To know what it is exactly, either nasab or jar, you need to look at the words before it or around it. That's what you need to do. So it sometimes shows status. When it's in rafa, it certainly shows status. When it's in nasab or jar, it sometimes does not really show status. Okay? You need to decode that status by looking at the words around it. So partly flexible isms have two key rules that you need to remember in mind. Okay? They are never heavy. They are never heavy. Okay? Partly flexible isms are never heavy. Always light. And that's your third reasons why isms are made light. Right? They are never heavy, okay? They never take a kasra. They never take a kasra. They hate kasra. They just don't like it. It's a Palestine and Israel relationship. They never like it. So whenever partly flexibilism comes in a jar form, it will always look like nasab. will always look like nasab, and to decode it, you will have to look at the words before it. Inshallah, 3-4 classes down the line, you will be decoding all of that. We're getting there very quickly, inshallah. These are the two things you need to remember always. Okay? Any questions so far? Let me take a pause here.
Fahad bhai, partly flexible words are usually proper nouns, or they could be like names.
I will give you those tips in a bit.
Okay.
So let's see if the principle is clear, and then inshallah we'll come to the tips.
Fahad, can I infer like this, that if an ism is light in the sense that somebody is calling, like Allah is calling Ya Shoaib, Ya Musa, or something is like you said, Iza, indeed, when, something, those are always be partly, those words are always partly flexible.
No, don't make a rule like that.
Okay.
No. Okay. Don't force rules. Just remember what I will tell you. Okay. There are advanced things about these things, and there are fundamental things about these things. And I will start with the fundamentals to get a solid foundation, and the advanced things we will learn as they come and show up in the Quran. Okay? If I give you too much right now, you will get really overwhelmed. Okay. No, don't make those rules right.
The thing where I get confused is how Ibrahimi become Ibrahima. Like, what was the main point where this becomes Ibrahima when it was in a jar status? So I forgot.
You will learn all of that in few classes from now, but let me give you an example. Okay. For example, if I say an Ibrahim. Okay. An Ibrahim. And then I say, for example, in an Ibrahima, inna Ibrahima. Okay. In the first case, Ibrahima is jar. In the second case, Ibrahima is nasab. How do you know? Because you know the word an makes things jar. Because you know the word anna, inna makes things nasab. You have not learned these words yet.
Okay.
Right? You will learn them, inshallah, in the classes to come. So once you know these things, you will be able to very easily decode with your eyes closed. As soon as you hear an, you will know that this is going to be jar. Okay, so wait for it a little bit. Okay, don't rush at this point. Right. So these two rules, are they clear? They never take a kasra, and they are never heavy. Okay. Now, what types of isms are partly flexible? How would I recognize which ism is partly flexible? Okay. And those are the tips I'm going to give you now. How do we know which ism is partly flexible? Okay. Now, I will give you some tips. Those tips will apply 90% of the time. It's a language. There are exceptions always. And they may not be all the tips. There would be tips later on, inshallah, that we will discover. But at this point in time, what I'm going to give you, inshallah, that should suffice your needs of what is partly flexible. Okay. Now, I think this will also address Shams by your question. Now, number one, proper names of places. Proper names of places are partly flexible. Makkah, Dallas, Reading, Swindon, Karachi. These are proper names of places. They're all partly flexible. Add a small tip to it for letters or more. The words that usually have 4 letters or more, and they are proper names of places, they are partly flexible. Okay. Examples should be clear. I think any name of a city is partly flexible. Any name of a place like Fantasyland or Disneyland would be partly flexible. Okay. Makkah is partly flexible. Karachi is partly flexible. Pakistan is partly flexible. England is partly flexible when said in Arabic. These are all proper names of places and have 4 letters or more. Okay. Then non-Arab names. Non-Arab names are partly flexible names of people. Let me just do that there. So rather proper names, non-Arab proper names. Okay. You don't need to write these things. They are in your notes. Inshallah, we'll walk through the notes very quickly. So just focus on understanding the principle. Non-Arab proper name.
Can I just ask, does the word Makkah have 3 letters?
No, it does not. It's a good point. Let me just bring it here.
But uncle, I was about to ask same thing, but I think it has alif in it.
The word is Makkatul. That's the word, right? That's how you write Makkatul. So do you know, let me just make it a little big here. So everybody sees clearly. Okay. Now, do you know what is this W sign on top?
It's Tashdeed, is it?
It's Tashdeed or a Shadda.
Shadda.
Tashdeed in Urdu and Shadda in Arabic. Right? So what's the purpose of this sound?
Oh, it doubles, doesn't it?
You double it, right? So Makkah, Makkah. So actually, originally, Makkah is written like this.
All right. Yeah.
Makkah. And Arabs do not like it. They hate it. Their language has to sound super smooth. They say, no, we're not going to do this. Let's merge them together. So when they merge them together, it becomes what you read every day. I've messed up my Arabic. Wait a second. Give me a second, folks.
अड्डू नहीं होता भाई.
Oh yeah, your word के अंदर अरबी type करना, it's a challenge. So they merge it together, right? And they form another rule with a shadda. And whenever you see shadda on it, it means there were 2 letters and we have merged them. 2 same letters, okay? So it's a 4-letter word. Okay. A good point. Right, non-Arab names. Now the question is, how do I know all the non-Arab names? There's so many names around, right? How do I come to know non-Arab names? It's impossible. Do I need to memorize? No, you don't. Because our scope of studies is the Quran, because our scope of studies is the Quran, I'm going to give you 4 Arab names in the Quran. There are 4 names in the Quran that are Arab names, right? Every other name in the Quran is a non-Arab name, therefore partly flexible. All you need to do is remember those 4 Arab names. Then you automatically know every other name coming in the Quran is partly flexible. Okay? What are those 4 Arab names?
Muhammad,
First one, yes, I was expecting this one. Muhammad.
Shoaib.
Shams bhai, either you have studied or you know that already. What's the clue behind it?
Sir, बाद में बताऊंगा.
You have done the dream course, haven't you?
No, I started it.
That's good. Good. So it was Shoaib. and then it was Salih, right? And then there is Hud. Right? Hud, not this wow, the other one, normal wow. Hud. Muhammad, Shoaib, Saleh, Hud. These are 4 Arab names in the Quran. Okay? So once you know these 4 names, every other name appearing in the Quran would be partly flexible. Names like Ibrahim, Yusuf, Maryam, and all those names that appear in the Quran, right? Of course, exceptions are those names that end with an alif, like Zakaria or any other name. Those would not be partly flexible, those would be non-flexible because they end with the alif. But all you need to do is remember these 4 names. Okay?
So these 4 names are
Arab names. These are Arab names.
They are fully flexible.
Fully flexible. Yeah.
Yes, these Arab names are fully flexible.
But
Almost. Gee.
why? What about Ibrahim?
Ibrahim is not an Arab name. No. Ibrahim is not an Arab name. Ibrahim was not sent to the Arabs. These 4 prophets were sent to the Arabs. So we know Ibrahim. Of course, there are many Ibrahims in our life in Pakistan and in Arab world today, maybe. I'm sure you're thinking about Ibrahim, our friend as well from Vodafone. But those names are not Arab names. Ibrahim, Ishaq, Yusuf, Maryam, these are all non-Arab names. They don't have Arabic ancestry. Right, so all you need to do, just remember these 4 names, and any other name appears in the Quran is going to be an Arab name, a non-Arab name, which is going to be partly flexible. Now, I'm going to give you an exception as a third tip. There's an exception. Remember this exception. Right, so exception is when you see 3-letter word with the sukoon. Sukoon is this. Sukoon is this.
Jazm.
This one. Or sometimes you write it as a C on top in Pakistani script. When you see a 3-letter word with a sukoon in the middle, then it is fully flexible. Fully flexible, not partly. Why did I tell you in the partly flexible? Because there are places and there are names which are 3-letter words and they are fully flexible. Okay. Examples. For example,
Hud.
Which one?
Hud.
Not Hud, because Hud, I said it's a yes, of course, Hud is one of those, but Hud is also an Arab name. But for example, Nuh. Nuh is a non-Arab name. It's not an Arab name, right? Nuh is a non-Arab name. It has 3 letters and it has sukoon in the middle. So the other example would be Lut, for example. Lut is another 3-letter word with a sukoon in the middle. Right? Such names are still proper names because we said that proper names of places, proper names, non-Arab proper names are partly flexible. But these are also non-Arab proper names, but they are not partly flexible because of this exception. Whenever a non-Arab proper name maps to this format where you have 3 letters only and it has a sukoon in the middle letter, then it is not going to be partly flexible. It's going to be fully flexible. I hope you understand now what I meant, that students might feel overwhelmed by learning this topic a little bit. It's not difficult to understand. It's a lot to remember. And once you practice it over time, these things become easier, second nature. Okay. So there is also a name of a place. You might have heard the word Garden of Eden in English. Right. So Eden is called in Arabic Adn. Adn. Okay? So it has a sukoon in the middle. It would be fully flexible. Adnun, Adnan, Adnin, and so on. Right? Any thoughts? Any questions so far? Okay, good. So for now, you should remember these steps. There are more, but I will teach you, inshallah, when we do those topics. Okay, and then it will be easier for you to grasp them. At this point, let's stick to these three. All you need to remember is any proper name of places with 4 letters or more is partly flexible. If you find a name from one of these 4, Muhammad, Shoaib, Hud, Saleh, it is going to be fully flexible. Every other name is going to be partly flexible in the Quran. Okay? If you ever find a name which is either the name of a place or a person, proper, and it has sukoon in the middle and it is 3 letters, it is going to be fully flexible. Let me show you something. What I will do is I will go to a Quran website.
Okay,
Another
sorry,
Quran website.
नूह
Sorry?
की different forms कैसे आप करेंगे? नूहुन, नूहन,
Nuhun, Nuhan, Nuh, Nuhin. Yes. Exactly like that. Nuhun, Nuhan, Nuhin. Okay.
नेचुरल नहीं लग रहा है, लेकिन अगर आप कहते हैं तो ठीक है.
Natural nahi lag raha. It's not about how you feel, Umar bhai. It's about what the language rule is. Nuhun, Nuhan, Nuhin is fully flexible. Trust me on that. Okay. So what I will do is just want to make sure that it's big enough for you. I'll search Maryam. I've searched the word Maryam. Okay. I'll say don't give me the translation. Yes, none. And I'll zoom in a little bit. So you will see the Maryam word identified in blue. Let's see if we find a heavy version. There are 4 pages on it. Right? Maryama, 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 Maryamu, Maryamu, Maryamu. Is there anywhere you are finding Maryamun, Maryaman, Maryamin? You will never find it in the Quran. Okay? You will never find it. Page number 2. I don't know how to switch this off. I've done everything I could. Translate on myself. Fixed. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. You see, Maryama, 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 everywhere. You never find a kasra. It's never Maryami, and it's never heavy. The 2 rules we did for partly flexible. Because it's a non-Arab name. It's a non-Arab name. Let's try another one. Let's try maybe Yusuf. Oh, Yusuf. Same. You'll find 3 pages. Yusufu, Yusufu, Yusufa, and so on. You will never find it heavy. You will never find a kasra on it. These are all partly flexible isms. Okay. I can give you an example. In this ayah, for example, Taqtulu Yusufa. Yusufa is nasab. In this particular example, Yusufa is jar. And you will know that once you have learned the words around them a little bit, that some structure about them. Okay. Right? I think you got the point. So this is a good website, tanzeel.net, just to understand and apply your learning. Search for the words, the names in the Quran. Maybe no one. I should just give a search. Umar Bhai was mentioning. Nuhan. Umar Bhai, this is Nuhin. See? And then this is Nuhan. I'm sure you might find also Nuhun somewhere. This is Nuhu. It's a light version because there is a ya. It's calling somebody, right? Ya Nuhu. That's why it's light. right? All of those things. So play around with this website, enter some words, try to find this is nuhun, heavy form, right? So that's the principle of the flexibility. So what I want you to do, inshallah, as this week's, yes.
Just one question here. Sorry for jumping in. That the 3-letter word which has
Sukun in the middle.
Sukun in the middle will
Yes.
always be heavy, right? And fully
Always
flexible.
be fully flexible. I never said always be heavy.
Yeah.
I said always be fully flexible. Fully flexible.
Okay.
When something is fully flexible, then it means it can be heavy and it can also be made light.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Is where I get confused actually sometimes, just because so many rules. Can you go back to the website, please? Just one. So here on number 12 or number 13, it's a nuhun, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's a fully flexible and it's a heavy form, right?
Correct.
Then on number 14, it's a qala ya nuhu.
Yes.
Right here, I'm calling.
Yes.
No. So that fully become lighter one, right? Whenever we are calling something that we learn in the class, right?
Correct. Exactly. Kala means he said. He said. And then ya nuhu. And now he's calling, oh nu. He's calling somebody, right? That's why the nu is light. Exactly.
But this one is not like number 16. Nu hiya. Nu hi ha.
Yes, that's a little advanced. You need to understand pronouns for that. So the ending of this word is an attached pronoun. We'll learn that inshallah later. Don't go there right now.
No, I just take a quick.
Just like number 16, for example, nu hi ha and nu hi he. These are all advanced. We will do that once we know the pronouns. But you're on the right. Your understanding is absolutely correct. This is light because it's calling somebody, and this is a heavy form of nu.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
So what I want you to do is on your page, before we just close the class, page 8, just write the third reason that you have just learned here, why the isms are light. The third reason is when they are partly flexible. Do this when they are partly flexible. And as your week exercise, just go through page 11. I've given you two things in non-flexible. There is a third one mentioned here. Don't worry too much about it. The flexibility says fully flexible. Most systems are fully flexible. They can be light or heavy. They show their status. Everything on a Muslim chart is fully flexible. That's what we did. Non-flexible only has one form. They look the same in all cases. Some words who end with alif and alif maksura, I gave you the pointers. I did not tell you about the ism mausul side of the story intentionally because I think it gets a bit too much for students. So you just read through them. You don't need to remember them. I'll remind you when they come. Okay. And then partly flexible, cannot be heavy, cannot take kasra. They have two forms, rafa and nasab and jar looks the same. And the rules that we just did in the class, proper names of places, an exception is 3-letter words with a sukoon in the middle. And the non-Arab names, in non-Arab names, you might want to write the 4 names here. You might want to write Muhammad, please write complete, Hud, Saleh, and Shoaib. Okay. And that's it. And there are a few examples down there. Do your best in identifying on this page, this exercise, which word is fully flexible, partly flexible, and non-flexible. Try to attempt this exercise. If you have problems, message on WhatsApp. We'll discuss on WhatsApp. And we'll also, of course, go through this exercise, inshallah, in the next class together. Okay? After the next class, we will have a very short 10 minutes quiz on everything from page 1 to page 10. Okay. All right, so if there's nothing else, Jazakallah for joining. I hope this was not too overwhelming for you. I've tried to make it as easy as possible, but I know for students it does end up being a bit overwhelming because of lots of information to remember. But I also promise you it will become easy. Okay? Inshallah.
Jazakallah. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Barbara. Jazakallah.
Thank you very much. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Allah Hafiz.
Alaikum assalam.
Allah Hafiz.